Hello, my name is Allie Proman Sachs, and I am joining you from Career Services. And I'm excited to be with you today as part of the ACE workshops in looking at resumes. Today, we are going to be talking about resumes, specifically Loyola's approach to career development, what that looks like for us, resumes, what it is, why do I use it, and how to create one, and then career services and you. So what are some of the ways career services can support you along your journey and the resources and next steps. So as we look at career development, we look at this within 4 phases. And we understand that this journey, the career development journey for each of us is unique and for each of us is different. And that's beautiful part of this process. And so we look at self-discovery being the piece of it where you confidently understand yourself, your values, your skills, and your interests. Exploration is gaining experience in the world. So, what it looks like to talk to someone in a field you might be interested in, to learn more about what day to day life is like, or to go on a site visit, or to join part of a club so that you can be part of presentations and hear more from alumni who are in a field that you might be interested in or that you're exploring. Preparation. So, preparation is putting together and getting yourself ready to present yourself both through a paper document. So, maybe things like your resume, online as well as in person. And then pursuit leads us into into being confident in that search for that internship or for the job or experience you might be looking for. So we're going to go through our resume. What is a resume? So a resume is a marketing tool. You think about it as something that you use to market yourself and to help to others to understand more about who you are through a summary of your education, your experiences, your accomplishments, your skills. What do I want someone to know about me, and how do I put that on a document? When we use it to obtain an interview. So when you might be interested in applying for a summer job or an internship or a full-time position, you're going to use this as a tool to help you to get an interview. We also use it when we're applying to grad school, when we're soliciting references. So when you reach out to a professor or you reach out to a supervisor or a coach around getting a reference, you're going to give them a copy of your resume. And then also for networking. So it's really great as you're connecting with people to share with them your document. Okay, so what goes on a resume? We're going to include lots of things on a resume that help to show your well-roundedness and to help to identify the skills and who you are. So the areas that we include are going to be education, and we're going to go in more detail about this. Education, work experience, activities, skills are going to all go onto your document. Okay, some of those best practices. So the best practice when it comes to resumes is we want to try to keep it to 1 page. A reader, an employer recently told me that it typically takes them 3 to 6 seconds to scan through the document. So although we're putting our heart and our work onto this document, we have to be aware that the individual reading it only has a short amount of time to read it. And so we want to think about how do we put what is most relevant and most important to what I'm applying for on 1 page. Now, we do have on there some exceptions. Sometimes in certain fields and industries, it can go longer than a page. That said, we still encourage you to think about how can I get it to a page? And then there might be specific instances in which you have research experience or a lot of volunteer experience or volunteer work where it would be okay to go to 2 pages in areas like speech pathology, psychology, and education. You can always reach out to career services for more specifics or to get guidance on when you can go to 2 pages. You want to make sure that it's easy to read. You want to make sure that that reader can go through it, looking at it quickly and understand what it is that's there. Consistent formatting. So things like if you're using Maryland in your information and you're abbreviating MD for Maryland, that you're going to abbreviate that throughout the document. Want to make sure that if your dates are aligned to the right, that all your dates are aligned to the right. And so making sure that as you're looking at it, that all the formatting on the document remains consistent. Error-free. I highly encourage that you have a few people look at your document to make sure that there aren't any major spelling errors or grammatical errors and that everything makes sense on the document. Oftentimes we look at our document so long we stop being able to see some of those areas. And so another set of eyes is going to always help us with that. Okay, then we're going to list our experiences in reverse chronological order. So whatever we're currently doing is going to be listed towards the top, and then we're going to go down from there. That helps the reader to see what's most significant and most relevant towards the top. And where you are in your careers now, for the most part, we're not going to include an objective or summary. We're going to just dive right into the experiences that you have. Okay. I want you to think like your audience. So as you're applying to that summer position or to the internship or to a fellowship opportunity or to a full-time position, I want you to think about who's going to be the reader and what do I think that they're looking for? And then how, as that reader, can I easily locate and understand your key information? So did you bold or italicize something that might be more relevant to the position that you're applying for? Making sure that the eye of that reader catches that information that's most important. Would you be comfortable? And I encourage you to ask yourself this. Would you be uncomfortable if your resume was shown to the CEO or the director or the president of the company? You want to make sure that your resume has no inconsistencies in information or formatting, that you've read it, you've revised it, you read it, you revise it. Knowing your resume is always a working document, but you want to continue to make sure that you're revising it and that it's consistent. Do you have the skills and the knowledge to perform this job? So I highly encourage that you read through the job description that is posted or that you're finding on Handshake, and that you read through it and make sure that you have the skills and knowledge, and then that's presented to the reader on your document. So what's the relevant language that you're using? What are the keywords that you're using? And how are you maybe emphasizing by moving some of your bullet points around to help to show them that you have some of the skills and the knowledge to perform this job? And then what do you know about the culture of the company? And how might you be a good addition to that culture? How do you show that through your well-roundedness, through some of those activities that you do in addition to your work? Okay. So as we go into creating the effective resume, I want you to start by meeting Iggy. Maybe you know Iggy Loyola. Iggy is a native of New York, a communications major, a sophomore, marketing minor, and you can see the details here. Enrolled in the honors program, sports camp counselor at the YMCA, member of Superfans, nominated to mascot, so forth. And I want you, if you're putting together your resume now, to go ahead and pause the video here. And I want you to write down for your own self some of these specifics for you. So where are you from? What class year are you? What major are you thinking about or have you declared? Do you have a minor? Are there specific programs that you're involved in here at Loyola? Have you worked at home during the summer, or have you worked during the summer? Have you done an internship? Are there things you're involved with on campus? What are some of the skills that you have, whether that be computer skills, language knowledge, so forth? So go ahead and pause it now and jot down those things for yourself. And then when you're ready, just rejoin us. Okay, so now that we have our list, we're going to go into how do we put this together? We're going to use this formatting, which is going to start with, at the top of the document, your identification. You're going to use your name, 14-point font or greater, your address only including your city, state, and zip code. And I would use your most relevant address to where you're applying. So if you're applying for something in Baltimore and home for you is not in Maryland, then I would use campus, Baltimore, Maryland 21212. But if you're applying to something closer to home and home is in Virginia, then I would use your Virginia city, state, and zip code. You're going to use your LinkedIn, your customized URL. If you're on LinkedIn and you haven't already done this, under settings, you can customize your URL. So instead of it reading linkedin.com/in/JZBDD, right? And just having letters, you can make it say linkedin.com/in/Iggy Loyola. And so you can customize that yourself and then include that on your document. You also want to include your primary phone number and email address on there. So you can see the example here with Iggy, and you could think about starting your own document with your information on there. Okay, so up next is going to be education. For each of you as Loyola students, your greatest selling point at this point is your education. So right under your identification is where we're going to start including education. We're going to make sure we do this in reverse chronological order. So we're going to start with your most recent school. So that's going to be Loyola University, Maryland. You want to make sure that you're including the location, your degree, so Bachelor of Arts in Communication. It may be a Bachelor of Science or a Bachelor of Business Administration. If you aren't sure of your degree, you can always check with academic advising and they can help you with that. And you want to include your expected date. And then you want to include information going down. So your GPA, if it falls higher than a 3.0, in most instances, we encourage you to include that. Any honors, awards, achievements. If you've studied abroad, you're going to include that as another entry for university. So you're going to include like Universidad de Alcalá, and you'll include that on there. Pro tip, include courses, especially if they're relevant to the job. So let's talk about Iggy here. So say Iggy is a communications major, a minor in marketing, and Iggy's really interested in joining a company to help with communications, is an internship around, and the company does a lot within sustainability. And Iggy's taken a few courses in sustainability or in our environmental studies program. Iggy could include those under relevant courses to help present that Iggy has some experience and knowledge in that area. Okay, then after education, we're going to go into work experience. This work experience can include paid work experience as well as unpaid work experience. So here we're going to include the name of the employer or organization, location, city and state, the job title or role, dates employed, and then we're going to include 3 to 5 bullet points that would prioritize as relevant. So whatever's most relevant to the position you're applying for is going to go towards the top of those bullets. And then we're going to scroll down and then we're going to go down from there. I encourage you to think about how you're putting together these bullets. We use something called the STAR technique, which looks at what you did, how you did it, and how that made an impact. So this S is for situation, T is for task, A is for action, and R is for the results of that. So the employers are really looking at what were the results of the actions that you had as part of this experience, and how can you spell that out to the reader. Using diverse action verbs. So each of those bullets should start with an action verb: managed, facilitated, communicated. So really thinking about what some of those action verbs are that you can use for the experience that you have. And you want to quantify those bullets to help the reader really picture the impact you've made in your position. Now, I encourage you at this point to pause it again and go ahead and start jotting down with this information up here. Some of start drafting your education and then your work experience, including the tips that we've included for you. Okay, now we're ready to move on to activities and other experience. So now we're looking at things like athletics, your volunteer work, projects that you've been a part of, clubs and organizations that you've participated in. As part of this, you're going to format it very similar to how you formatted your work experience. You're going to include your role, the dates that you were involved, and then you're going to have a couple bullet points there if your space allows and if it's relevant to what you're applying for. And again, choosing those activities according to what's relevant to what you're applying for. Okay, next we're going to go into skills. So the skills that we want to include on the document are going to be technical and computer skills. So things like Photoshop, SPSS, Excel, and you're going to put in there like advanced in Photoshop or beginner in, and you're going to list your level. You're going to also include language skills. And again, we want to include basic understanding of Spanish, intermediate level of Arabic, advanced level in French, and so forth. Conversational or fluent. So including that for the reader. And then a list of relevant certifications. So if you're certified in Adobe, or if you're certified in Bloomberg Terminal or in First Aid, you're going to include that here. Okay. So as we recap, I want you to think about for your own self how you're pulling your information together. I'm going to show you a sample resume that we have up on our website. And let me do this. I'm going to switch my shared screen. Okay, so I'm going to show you here. This is going to be a sample resume that I pulled up from the example is communication major. And so you can see here, just like we did with Iggy, it's going to be the name and information at the top, their education, which includes GPA, the bachelor's degree, when they expect to graduate. Then it's going to go into things like athletics. So for this particular student, they're part of one of our Division I athletics teams. And so they've included that towards the top of their document because it's relevant for them. And then they go into work experience, leadership activities, and then some of the skills at the bottom. So I wanted to pull that up so you could take a look at what that would look like. Okay. So some of the resources that will help you as you're navigating moving forward. A few resources that we have, and I highly encourage you to utilize these. Handshake is one of those. So Handshake is where we post job and internship postings. You can also schedule appointments with career services, and events are also listed on there. So it's a great way to see, is there a company coming that you might be interested in just exploring what they do and who they are, and you can go be part of that. Loyola Connect is an entity in which you can connect with alumni. So alumni sign up on Loyola Connect, alumni and friends of the university sign up on Loyola Connect to mentor students. And so you can connect with them to learn more about what they do. Big Interview is an interview preparation platform. So there's tips and videos you can watch. You can also record your own self, and you can do a grading of how you feel like you did, as well as sending it to a trusted friend or a professor to help give you some feedback on that. And then our website here, loyola.edu/career center. This is where you can find all of the sample resumes, as well as some other tips and tricks for resumes, as well as ordering business cards, cover letters, and other resources. So I wanted to show you this quickly. This is just Handshake. So loyola.edu/handshake is going to take you here, which helps you to look at look for those job postings and schedule appointments and look at events. Here's Loyola Connect. So this, as we talked about, is that alumni tool to help connect you to alumni as mentors. So you may put in a search there for a specific area, see the alumni that come up. It'll give you some information about them. You can click on each person to learn a little bit more, and then you can click Let's Connect and send a message. And it does give you some strategies, some wording for how to send that message if you want that help. Okay, so we are wrapping up this presentation now. I encourage you to take the time, given the tips and tools that we've gone through, to start jotting down some of the information for your own on your own document. And then you're welcome to schedule an appointment with career services. Again, you can do that through Handshake, loyola.edu/handshake. And the top right corner is a box that says Career Center. You can click on that and then go to schedule appointment. You can also always do a drop-in with one of our Loyola Career Ambassadors, Monday through Friday from 1 to 3. And you can find the Zoom room for that on Handshake. So if you go on to Handshake and put in drop-ins, it should pull that up for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Career Services. We would love to hear from you, and we hope to help you move forward with your resume. Thanks so much for your time today, and take care.